All right, it's Tommy Marquez, and I'm back to tell more stories this time. All right, so people always ask, hey, tell me something you did in Congress that was worthwhile. So, okay, I'll tell you a story. So we had a commander here on the West Coast who was a constituent of ours. He had been relieved of command, what he believed to be wrongfully, and later on I did too, and they didn't allow him to have the administrative process. Okay? So for those of you who don't know, if you get relieved of command, you do get to have a retort and you do get to have some sort of explanation. He got neither of those things allowed to him. When we wrote to his captain who relieved him in the immediate superior in command, he said, hey, listen, I didn't have the time to do that. I was too busy on another an operational exercise in Hawaii. So I was too busy. So I know what the rules say for timeline, but it doesn't matter because I was on a deployment or exercise. So I talked to my member of Congress and we wrote a letter. And it was really funny. We wrote, hey, we totally understand that you get busy and that that exercise was really important. But just show us in the MilPERS, man, where it says that you could gaff this off and just totally disregard it if you get too busy. And then we said, perhaps if you're too busy, maybe somebody else should be in your job and maybe you should be relieved of command because you don't seem fit to be able to multitask. Well, when a letter like that comes from a member of Congress, believe me, heads will roll. He stopped communicating with us and sent us to Naval Personnel Command. What Naval Personnel Command came back and finally told us was, hey, he actually never forwarded any of the paperwork. So we're issuing this letter and we're going to tell you that that officer was never relieved of command, ever, because the process wasn't done right. He's to go back and obtain the command, which he did. And then later on, he was rightfully promoted. None of the things that happened to him were put in his file, and he was allowed to make captain. Now, we had to leave office before we got to be there for him to get pinned on captain. But we've talked since, and he's a great guy. He's a great family man. His family's wonderful. He deserves to be a captain. And when we talked last, I said, hey, don't ever forget what they did to you, and don't ever do that to someone else, okay? So those are just, one example of something we did to help out what your member of Congress could do. If you don't know who your member of Congress is, go to congress.gov, find out who it is. It's very important you know who your representative is in the United States government. Trust me.